Quick video on this 1962 D-18. We did this in a triage many weeks ago. In fact, it was a lot of weeks ago. The owner sent me a cashier's check as down payment, and I like to use checks as a carrot on a stick, so I don't deposit them and I don't cash them until I've done that amount of work. And this particular cashier's check had an expiration date of 90 days, and that was 30 days ago. So I had to send the check back, and I hope he can take it to the bank and get a fresh one renewed. So I guess it's been 120 days since I did a triage on this. I'll put a link to that video, and I will also try to link it specifically to the spot where I talk about this 62 D-18. So this is just a quick catch up on where we're at on this, because a lot of you showed interest in it, that you were looking forward to seeing how it sounded. I will go through the problems on it real super quick here. And the main thing that you noted, this guitar was a quote test guitar for this music store, and my customer bought it from them. You will notice it has herringbone binding on it, and it's pretty sloppy. There's gaps, huge gaps back here where they were testing out stuff. There's got a lot of damage back here on the back right here, which is actually pretty solid. I'm not going to mess with that too much. I'm not going to take it apart and try to restore it better, because this is really literally stuck back together right here, and I'm not going to make it any better than that. And it's pretty structural. It looks pretty sound structurally, so I'm not worried about any of that. It's just ugly. And the top is actually pretty good, you know. It doesn't have too many cracks. It's got a little bit of a crack right there. No big deal. But it doesn't have any popsicle base cracks. And, you know, everything looks good. I think I did a video on this one where I did the bridge plate pull, and the bridge plate just like literally fell out. It was like they glued it with bottled liquid hide glue or something. I've got my maple bridge plate in there, glued in with fish glue. It's nice and solid. I've done a Madagascar rosewood bridge, which I thought matched the Brazilian rosewood fingerboard really good. You know, the color is really comparable on that. I love Madagascar rosewood on bridges. I gave it 2 3/16 inch spacing, which is a little bit wider than the stock 2 1/8, but not up there to 2 1/4. So it's just a tiny bit wider spacing, which you probably would never notice if I hadn't said anything about it. But it does space the, ooh, look at that. Cut myself on a fret. It does space the strings out real nice over the neck right here. As far as the frets go, I just cut myself on them. Nickel silver, he didn't want Evo because he didn't want the gold look on it. So that's no problem, you know. 62 is kind of a traditional guitar, so let's just put nickel silver on it. Besides that, I got to use up my nickel silver. I haven't done a nickel silver fret job in a long time. So it's got Just Car 4380 nickel silver. That means it's 43 thousandths of an inch tall, 80 thousandths of an inch wide. I put it on. I haven't beveled the edges yet because I'm going to take the fingerboard, I'm going to take the neck off, and then I will finish up the frets, and then I can do all the beveling when the neck is off of it. So the relief is really good on it. I didn't have to do any, relief's great. It's got a T-bar truss rod in it, so, you know, that's about as solid as you can get. I didn't have to do any shaving of the fingerboard or anything. I just, you know, did my typical fret job where I smooth it out. I've got a video on that on how to tips to successful fret jobs. These frets going in beautifully. The fret slots are a little loose, so I went ahead and super glued them in. Normally I would use a fish glue or something, but I don't want them popping out. I want them in there nice and solid, so I went ahead and used super glue. That'll last forever. This is just a test saddle on there. Man, I'm bleeding. To help me out with that, help me out with the neck reset as to where I want that neck reset. So. What I'm doing now is I'm getting ready to do the neck reset. I'm going to leave it strung up for about a week, because this is the first time I've ever seen it strung up. I don't think it had a bridge on it when it came. I'm not sure if it had tuners. I can't remember. No, it had the tuners, Those are original cloussons. They're old style cloussons, but it didn't have, pretty sure it didn't have a bridge. And I had to really scoot that bridge back, but it's typical 70s Scar. I have a video on that too as to why in the world this is like that. I think this neck is shorter. We're going to find out when I take the neck off, because it should have a serial number in there, and that serial number should match the serial number in the neck block, and they will know whether or not it's the original neck or not. So we'll find that out. But I had to put the bridge in the correct spot, which I did do. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, I used yardstick right here. The saddle should be just past 12 7/8 contact on the base side. So what I mean is that low E, the fat string, should contact the saddle at 12 7/8, just over. Ruler's on the middle of the 12th fret, and bingo. Contact point is right there. And the same thing over here. Put your yardstick on the middle of the 12th fret, and there it contacts at 12 4 5 6/8. Just past that. Let's look again at my marks. There's my marks. That's where the saddle slot has got to be for correct intonation on these guitars. So, fresh bridge plate, plugged it on the hose, put a new bridge on it, glued everything up, drilled the holes. It's in bad need of a neck reset. Right now the action is 1/30,000th of an inch. Huge action. It's got a ferocious drop off over here. There's nothing we can do about that. I might shim it. It's about time for me to do a video on shimming as to why I do not necessarily like to shim that fingerboard extension. And this might be a good candidate to talk about that. It's probably going to get the popsicle brace taken out. And in a week, I'll decide about scalloping. So, that's this guitar. So, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to leave it strung up for a week. And we'll take the neck off of it and do a neck reset, and then I can actually start playing it. When I take the neck off, I'll finish up the frets and do the beveling, so I quit cutting myself on it. Man, that's a nice cut. I better go disinfect that. But I can do all the beveling and finish the frets up the end, and so it's really fairly straightforward. There's a piece of the kerfing up in here that I've got to fix. I've got to put it back in there. I think it's up here. And if I don't do that, it'll probably cause a wolf tone. So I've got to get me a piece of kerfing or a piece of, might just make up a piece, slide it back up in there. Sorry. And glue that back up. So, but it's really going along pretty good. As far as sound goes, it's not tuned up yet. Got a pretty good bite, as I expected a 63 non-scallop D-18 would have. And let's see. I know the intonation is going to be off because the action is so high. Pretty close, though. If I hadn't scooted it, it would be off. So, I'm trying not to cut my fingers up on this, but so that I'm not in tune. This is just. You kind of expect a certain frequency there. Let's not do that. Let's just do this. Kind of nasally in there, so. But it's also a wood saddle, yeah. It's got a decent tone. I mean, it's snappy. It's gonna be a good guitar. If I can quit bleeding all over it. So that's it. I just wanted to catch up on this 62. I'm kind of excited about getting it done, and got a great neck on it. Looking forward to playing it. really get it done. So it'll be a good guitar. See ya.